بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مشاهدينا الكرام أهلا وسهلا بكم. Our audience, you are most welcome today. We have Mr. George Abraham. Mr. George, أهلا وسهلا بك. Before we start with Mr. George Abraham about the announced subject, always we have to mention these two items, please. This is the alarm bell, which is in every house in Canada, especially they are wooden houses. You will have one mainly at the main floor. Might be another one, could be on the top floor or on the basement. Also, you might have the other one, which is detecting the other poisoning gases.
Carbon
monoxide.
So it's
Yes.
code. It's every bedroom has to be installed one. It's
Yes,
code based.
because that's a poisoning silent one. Okay, the second thing is this, as you see, and I found that Mr. Abraham has his name on this one. He branded it for himself. Anyway, it's cheap. How much is it?
I thought it's around $40.
$40. So please, I mean, one on the base, one in the first floor, one in the second floor. You can put down the fire, put it off easily.
The basement as well is very
Yes.
important.
Yeah, the basement is an important one. Until you call the fire brigade, which is almost in 6 minutes, they are in. Now, I will leave this in front of you so you can remember it. What is this, if somebody's asking? And this thing here, if somebody's asking, we will tell you about them later. Okay? Now, Mr. Abraham, George Abraham, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. I have a few questions to you. And in these questions, as usually, tell me something about yourself. When did you come? What did you study? And so on.
Yeah,
I need to give you a microphone because I am using a different one, but this time I'll have this one. Okay, I hope it is here. Okay, and I'll get my microphone. I can see it there, but so we can have better audio. Go ahead.
Okay, so I came in Winnipeg 2008. I landed 2008, August 2008.
Okay.
Previously, I was working in aviation in Lufthansa, a German airline, for 10 years. Previously, British Airways for 3 years. So I came here through the nominee program.
Okay.
I have a sister. My sister, she's a dentist in Winnipeg. So
she made a nomination for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came through the nominee program. Great. And what was you studying before? What was you doing? You said in aviation with Lufthansa.
In Cairo, I am graduate from Alexandria University of Commerce.
Very good.
And I work in Lufthansa Cargo in the last 10 years before I came here as a sales.
Yeah. Now, when we look at that, it's sales, yes, but it's not real estate.
Yeah, it's like the only common thing. It's a sales. I was sales manager in Lufthansa Cargo. So sales, it's a skill. Like I have the skills of sales.
Very good.
When I came here, I start a corporation. Win-win pro trading. It's exporting and importing and trade. It was the hard time during this. It was 2008. Was a big recession. Canadian dollar.
I know it.
So low. I start to import some products from Egypt, organic fruit and vegetable.
I have seen this. I mean, some people say, can we start importing things from our back home country and bring it here, traditional things? And I told them, look, if you want to think in that narrow gap, you will not.
Yeah. It's like importing, it's easy. Importing and exporting is the most important is market. How can you
open a market for yourself?
Exactly. So I had a 6 shipment. It was good. Like I have 2 shipment only delayed in the shipping. So it was a very stressful job. Like it's pressure, dealing with pressure. So I
change career, I can say.
Yeah, but I import a different product like handicrafts from Egypt as well. But the market is limited. So I have lots of friends and family member telling me you're fit to be a realtor, and I like the idea to help family. Like this is a dream. Like
to support people.
To buy a house. This is your the most like expensive investment, or like
it takes money.
You 30 years, 20 years of your life paying the mortgage.
Yes.
So it's not an easy decision, and
Exactly.
everybody will. It's a dream when
You buy a house.
when you come here. This is first thing you're to think about it. When is the right time to buy a house?
All right. So you started studying for realty.
Yeah. To be able to have a license, you have to pass 3 exams and another 2 exams to be able to. So I start from scratch.
It costs some money also.
It cost money, and
Box.
and it's not. Yeah, it's about $3,000, around $3,000, and then it's not all. This is not the only cost. Only cost when you passing the exam, you have to pay the fees for your brokerage and your association and your board. So
And here the exams are not cheap, by the way. And registering also.
Yeah,
sometimes
everything
they
is,
find 500, 700, 1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not looking for the exact numbers, but we will tell people it's not, $500 only, and we are in there. No.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody wants to buy a new house, now, what is the procedure?
if it's first-time home buyer,
Yes.
first thing you have to check with your lender, your bank, or your credit union, your mortgage broker.
Your financial institute.
You need to know how much you qualify to buy the house. They calculate it with a rate. It's called GDS or TDS, or gross debit service. So simply, it's 30% from your income toward mortgage. And then they go a little bit deeper. They calculate all the debts you have, and then it's about 40% after the TDS.
Of your income.
TDS, yeah.
Okay. That's why some people.
Then they should provide you with like a pre-approval letter.
Okay.
Pre-approval, like dedicate, like you are qualified to buy this property with this value, with a certain rate, with terms. And
From an experience, when I approached one of these financial institutes, they told me, as you said, we will know your income and we give you an approval letter for, say, 3 months' time.
it's 3 months.
Yes, that you can go and look for a house which is for sale, come back to us, so we will look at it in order to continue with you. Now, some people think that I know that I need this is the money, finished. There is a closing.
There is like if you're working with a realtor have like his job to explain all the hidden costs or all the details.
Yes.
You don't want to be surprised in something like this. Everything has to be clear. So the closing cost, it's calculated around 2%, which is legal fees, land transfer tax. This is the major cost. It's $1,720 for the first 200,000 value of the house, and the remaining is 2%.
Okay.
So it's a huge.
Yeah, because I said if I want to buy a house with worth 400,000, I found that I will go into between 9,000 to 10,000 the closing.
Exactly.
So people has to know.
Yeah, and in
that-
Manitoba, it's compared to the different provinces, it's high, one of the highest. The land transfer tax is very high.
Yeah, I mean people has to know that they need to have that amount of money, which is about $10,000 aside from everything.
Yeah, it's 2% or 2.5% to be on the safe side, including the land transfer tax, the lawyer, and the moving cost as well. Any immediate like repair or for
No.
the house you need.
We said this about a new house, and till now it's 5%.
It's like the minimum to be able to buy a house. It's down payment 5%, and if you pay less than 20%, you have to pay
Insurance?
Reinsurance, which is CMHC, which is Canada Mortgage Housing. So it's the body who insure the bank to avoid any like recession.
Not paying or
Recession, like
Yes.
It's happened after 2001 and 2008, the recession. So it's you pay around 4% more. So if you have the 20%.
you don't.
With you, it's better to pay 20%
I've
to
seen that.
avoid this 4%.
I've seen a boy, and they have one branch called. They have something called Islamic Finance, and it's the only one which is on Pimbina,
Yeah.
in front of Showbars, there near to a car dealer or showroom, and they insist on 20% minimum. As a start.
I don't have like a big experience with Islamic finance. It's in the end, it's a little bit expensive.
Yeah, I know, but you know, some people go religious, and that's why I'm bringing this point.
Yeah, I have lots of clients just buy cash. Like they don't like to.
They don't want to go for loans from the bank or mortgages, and they say, I will save this amount of money, and I will do this, or pay for the newcomer who doesn't have a job. Because we will talk about this. I mean, in order to be eligible, you have to be working.
Permanent work. Yeah, you have to
have a permanent job.
3 months at least.
Yes. So there is a condition that you have to be working and you have income, and they will look into that. Then they approve it for you. Now, the government has announced something last week, so we will only talk about it because it's not yet.
Yeah, it's incentive. It's proposed from the government, which is. For the family have qualified, they have 5%. So you have to be qualified for 5% first, and then the both like the maximum. You have to the household 120,000 total income. If you are more than 125, you are not qualified for this, and. The house shouldn't be over 480,000. But the tricky thing, it's the CMHC, which we mentioned before, the CMHC.
Yes.
CMHC will, if it's a brand new house, first-time home buyer, it has to be for the first-time home buyer.
Yes.
Number one. And then, if it's brand new house, they propose they can give you 10% down payment, shared equity, which is a little bit like obscure. It's not clear what's the mean shared equity, because equity is very important word. We need to talk about it. So 10% shared equity owned by CMHC. When you do any renovation, you do the basement, you do landscaping or deck, fencing, any adding value, any improvement. So you build equity. So the question here, after, let's say you get the 10% for a brand new house, you're qualified and everything, and after 5 years you want to sell the house.
Yes.
So they have 10% equity from your house. So your investment, you put an investment, so you have 10% from your investment.
Yes.
Which is, it's not common, it's obscured, it's gray area. So this is the proposal. It's not approved yet. It's not clear. Looks nice, but when you go inside
detail,
so you will have a partner who's 10% with you, and legally it's not clear.
Okay, back again to the house. I mean, if I own it, if I buy it, now it's mine, but I have a loan from the bank. I can sell it. I can initiate a company in it.
You can, yeah.
I'm just trying to clarify to the audience, because we have two different people now. People who are planning to come, and they say, when I go there, I have this money, I'll buy a house. Yeah,
this situation, you have to have, first you have to have either PR or work permit.
Yeah.
This is number one, and then you have to have minimum 35% down.
Yes, that's for anyone who is newcomer, didn't work before.
And you don't have a steady income.
Okay. Yes.
But first, legally, because this is new as well. Like 2 years ago, anybody can get pay 35% and get mortgage.
Yes.
And this has changed recently. So you have to be first eligible for a mortgage, which is legally have like a permanent resident card, or work permit.
Okay. Now, if you want to buy a second house, I mean, it's not the first. We talked about the first house. Now, I did buy a house and sell it, and I want to buy another house. Do I still have to pay, or I can pay 5%, or it is different?
Okay, so for the second house, let's say you will keep your house and you want to buy another house.
Two cases. If I'm keeping the first and buying a second, or I sold the first and now I want to buy a second.
So the second house has to be 20% down. Second house has to be 20, which is considered as investment. You can keep one. You can go for 5% and buy a house, but the second house you have to pay 20% down.
So if I have a house, okay, if I'm buying a second, I pay 20%
down.
If I sold the first and I want to buy a second,
for your main resident house, which is your personal,
I will be living in, it's my address.
You don't pay capital gain. So I think you asked about capital gain.
Yes.
Capital gain. Capital gain happened when you bought a second house. You pay 20%. You bought it for 300,000, and after a couple of years, you sold it for 400. So you have 100 different.
Yes.
This is the equity. I mentioned the equity,
yes.
The 10% equity.
Yes.
Equity is the most, I believe, in my opinion, it's very important concept. You have to understand it, because when you buy a house, you build equity in the house. When you pay the principal and the interest, like your mortgage payment every month, so you build equity, and the value of the house grow. Winnipeg, it's around between 4% to 8% every year growing in the real estate market. So every year you get a value, your house getting more value, and you pay your
installments,
your monthly
the mortgage, yes, the money
so
which you have to pay.
After a couple of years, 3 years, you will build equity. You find like you have like whatever number.
It depends upon the house and how much was it.
And then you can use this equity for investment through the bank. So the bank can loan you
with guarantee of that.
With
equity.
guarantee, or you can buy another house with equity. So you build equity. And if you sell the house, if it's your personal house, you don't pay any taxes on the gaining.
The profit
because
which you are making.
Because you buy another house, it's your personal resident.
Yes. Now, on your card title, you are specialized in housing, investments, and businesses.
And commercial.
And commercial. Sorry, I called it businesses.
Yeah.
Commercial. Just try to explain for me the title. What are the differences?
Okay. So residential, I'm dealing with like any
houses, condos,
looking for a house to live in.
Yes.
Either brand new house. I have a good experience with majority of the builder here. So you want to just choose the lot. Where is the location?
That's the land, because it's called the lot. People have to know it.
But you can't buy the land.
No, I'm just. Do you get the title?
Yes.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, clarify the expression to our listeners and audience.
Yeah, this is the land. Then you choose the land, and then you choose the 2-story, 1-story. How big? How many washroom? How many?
We have to clarify here that it's not just I go to Abu Muhammad or Abu Ismail, I want to buy your house or your land.
Yeah, for brand new house, the developer, they will never sell you a land.
They want to develop in it.
I mean the builder, because the developer who own the land, and he spend money to divide it and sell the land to the builder, and the builder sell the land to you with the house.
Now let us explain something for the people who are watching us. If you want to buy a house from scratch, the city, which is the municipality in our countries, define an area for development in the beginning, and bring the sewage, bring the electricity, the telecommunication. We call it the services. After that, as I understand it, there are big companies who do developments or take shares or take these lots, the pieces of lands, and they have a plan. We want 2 stories here, we have condos here, we have whatever it is. Am I right?
Yes, it's like I will make it.
Explain it. I wanted to open it in front of the audience.
Yeah, let's talk for Bridgewater.
Yes, the new development at Bridgewater area in Winnipeg.
Yeah, in Bridgewater in
the south.
Richmond West. Consider Richmond West. So the owner of the land is Manitoba Housing.
Very good.
In this case, this is the government. Could be Latco on the Prairie Point in South Point.
Okay.
But let's talk about
an existing case.
An existing case, the Bridgewater.
Okay.
So they own the land, and then they do the services, sewage and water and hydro. They put the road, and then they designated each lot, each area will go for residential, for multifamily, for retail, for commercial, and then they sell it to builders.
Good.
The qualified builder with a good reputation with the builder association. He has to be registered with the builder association because they give a warranty.
You have to know that everything here has a society that approves the work.
This is a very important.
Important.
And then the builder.
Yes.
Yep. In Bridgewater, they have about 15 builder.
Okay.
Different kind of build. They build a show home, and they present their model. Their quality of work and their model in the show home, and then you buy the house. You don't buy the land, but you have the privilege to choose
which piece of land, which lot.
This is in case of residential. The second question, what is this is residential. This is for somebody who want to buy a brand new house or pre-owned house.
He goes to the builder and go to the bank, and because some bank like the Assiniboine, they say we buy a ready one. We do not go for a builder to do an agreement to build for you. That's what they told me.
This is in this.
And only in one case, Islamic finance. They say we want, something ready. Unless in some cases, if the builder agrees to build for you with his money, that's a different case.
Yeah, this is a very special scenario.
Very special, but we have to highlight it.
Yeah.
Because we want to tell people that we are coming on the subject A to Z.
Yeah.
Now, if we finished with the houses, but we want to do a business.
So let's say you bought a house, you pay whatever 5%, and after 5 years you build an equity in the house, or you had money for and you want to invest.
Okay.
The best way to do investment in Winnipeg, from my opinion, is rental, because there is something called vacancy rate.
Okay.
Vacancy rate, this is a ratio. They calculate the vacant per year.
Okay.
With percentage. So Winnipeg is one of the lowest vacancy rate in Canada.
Oh.
It's 1.1 to 2.2. This is the average, which is around 1%. It's the lowest. So there is a high demand on renting. That's why you can see everywhere lots of new projects. It's based on rental, not condominium. So you have the equity, and the bank approve you to buy this amount of investment, like 300, for example. And you come to me and tell me I wanna buy a good rental with budget 300. My job to find the best location, easy to rent, closer to university, or brand new.
Depends upon what you want.
My preference is always to go either brand new or newer, because the headache for maintenance, it's and because the average lifetime for anything that are around between 25 years to 30 years. Shingles, the furnace, the windows,
everything in the house has to be either replaced or maintained.
Yeah, in 25 years. So my recommendation to go either brand new with a good location, and then if you go for a good area in the south, you have a better tenant as well. So you have a newer or brand new house with less maintenance and higher income, and as well less vacancy because it's brand new, so it attractive for people to rent. Again, you go through whatever bank institution, any lender, and you have to calculate what is the benefit you get. So, which is called the cap rate, capitalization rate. This is a little bit sophisticated going to the commercial part, but it's important if you want to start investment, you need to
understand.
So you calculate the cap rate based on the net operating income. So let's say you rent your the new house for $2,000. You bought a house for $350,000.
Okay.
You pay 20% down. Then you rent it for $2,000 a month.
Okay.
So you have $24,000 a year.
Okay.
So you minus the property tax, which is it's 1.1%, around from 1 to 1.1%
of that
a year of the value of the house. Okay. So you minus from your 24,000 the property tax, the mortgage that you pay,
yes,
or whatever cost of lending, and as well the maintenance, if you have any maintenance, and the insurance.
Okay.
You have to do
insurance on the property.
And whatever left, this is your net operating income. So you need to make sure, like when you buy a property, to be realistic. You know how much you're going to rent. You see what's in the area, how much they're already renting in this area. So you'll be positive you're going to rent, yes, it with this amount of money, and then this is your expenses: the property tax, the insurance, the any maintenance.
Yes, you have to be wise in if you are paying 400,000 or 350 as an average, maybe.
Yeah. Afterwards,
yes,
if I have lots of clients, they have multiple property. You know, the majority of the professional here, they have a good income, and they don't like invest in the bank.
Yes, they want to keep the money.
Yeah, it's risky.
Yes.
So the best way to invest, if you have a wealth, you need
buy property.
to divide it. Yes. Divide between property. Some they buy a gold, like a metal, and the rest they can use it in their businesses. This
yes,
is a
so it's not in one place. If it is broken, we are dead.
Yeah, and after after let's say 5 years, you build an equity in your rental again.
Yes.
So every year the house is going up, and you pay a mortgage, and like you start with one house. I have a client. He started with one house. In 4 years now, we have 5 houses because it's built like it's cover itself,
it's generating,
cover itself, and getting more money.
Okay, now if we want to buy a business, I mean, I see people. This is to answer a question that I'm coming and I'm thinking I will do shawarma, I will do a bakery, I will do shoe shop, I will do. I mean, to start, you have to have a license, a business, a place. I mean, different terms. I'm just throwing it, and you pick it, and then put the puzzle.
Yeah, this is like everyday question.
Yes.
I have lots of people ask me, especially when they're coming from business nominee program.
Yes.
They come to a certain program for a certain type of business, and then they're still open for a different option. And this is the everyday question. What is the best thing to do in Winnipeg for the business? And it's very hard to answer this question because it depends on you. You have to know exactly what's your skills. You have to be realistic. First, you have to understand the market, the system here, and then know what's your skills, what's your experience, and they have to check your experience there.
Yes.
Is it similar experience here or it's a different experience?
I understand that you have to have 2 years minimum experience of the same field when you come, or I'm mistaken in that?
It doesn't have to.
No, but you have to have maybe 2 years as a business operator.
Yes.
in your place.
Talk about the program.
So, I mean, I have seen people say, I'm coming to invest outside Winnipeg, 150,000. I was working in a factory or working on a company. I'm the manager, I'm dealing, I'm owner. Now, that one say it was producing milk. Yes. And now I come here and I want to do a business that is something with food, but not milk, maybe a restaurant. That is possible. Am I right?
Yeah. You could request to change the business model plan or the
Okay.
and it's possible.
Okay. Now, I'm coming now with the money, and I'm got the what we call it, the PNP program visit.
Business nominee program
Visit, and I'm on land now. I have to stay 10 days, 15 days to look for and search for the opportunities, and then I will see the officer later. But within my search, I will, as long as it is 150, it's outside Winnipeg, 250, it's inside Winnipeg, right? Now, when I go outside, gets time back, Portage La Prairie, anywhere. And I found that I can buy a business. What is your part as a realtor?
What's happening when somebody coming in the business nominee program? I meet him, and then I explain the residential part. I always explain residential part.
Yeah, because he has to live.
If he wanna buy or rent or whatever, and then I understand I have to know what's his background, what is in his mind, what's his
what he can
strengths,
do.
what he can do. And then in commercial, they have a certain website.
Okay.
A website called CPEX. This is only for commercial, and a different business brokers. There are about 3 main business broker here in Winnipeg. I had a good experience with them. We had multiple transactions before. So let's say he said, I wanna buy a restaurant. So I designed like a automated email. He will receive it, let's say once a day or whatever he wants, once a week, and he will see what's in the market, what's available in the market.
You show him the business
and what's sold for, and then if he, let's say he like this restaurant or this grocery store or this kind of business, we will go deeper. We
start
showing,
negotiating and talking,
and then we need to see the financial statement.
Yes, of the business,
and you have to check it with his accountant. My role to give him enough information as much as I can.
Okay.
With expert, he will take a decision, and then we'll negotiate the
if
finance,
he agrees,
and how the handover, how the it's long process.
Very good. But I wanted to clarify it for people that it's not our go, as we said, Abu Mahmoud, I want to buy your shop. It's not this way.
It's a long process. It has to be. You have to be very careful for each step. And my recommendation to people, because I had a previous experience when I came, he bought already a restaurant and he wanna change everything. This is a big problem because it happened many times. Because he coming from his background, like he wants to
start with changing the name,
change everything. Like my recommendation: if you bought a business, keep it as it is.
Otherwise, you are and you will stuck with the code.
Change it like time one by one.
Slowly.
Don't stuff. Keep the stuff, especially stuff. Keep the stuff.
Keep it operating.
If you have a menu, keep the menu. If you want to add your ethnic food, add it. Or reduce it, but keep everything as soon as you know, at least 6 months, minimum 6 months or 1 year, to know what is the cash flow is the problem. Like I saw lots of successful business and they stuck and they have a really rough time because of the cash flow. You make money in 1 month and another month is not, and then you have a fixed cost. So cash flow, you have to be very careful with cash flow. Cash flow is the most important thing in the business.
Very good. So as I know that you have an appointment. I don't want to delay you. I will close with this question. We said if I want to start and initiate a business, if it is from scratch, you check.
From scratch, I will, my job to find the best location.
Yes.
To find the space to lease or to buy. To buy, it's hard to find a commercial space
and the
buy.
lease is on a long time, 5 years or something?
Yeah, minimum, the landlord, minimum 3 years.
Minimum.
Or 5 years,
And
this is the normal.
Are there, what we call it, restrictions
Terms.
on the type of the business you want to start in the area?
Sure. Like each location, say, has a zoning.
Yes.
Is it to be industrial, light industrial, retail, office space? It depends
So
on
I
the
cannot
zoning.
push like a food factory in something else which is not suitable or
It
not
has to
zoned.
be like I have a like scenario like this. He like I have a client. He want to build or to put a bakery, commercial bakery, like a pita bread.
Yes.
And to be able to put this, it has to be like a light industry. Light industry is not allowed to sell retail. So he told me I wanna have like a shop as well, like a grocery store.
So he wants to deliver to the stores.
Yeah, zoning. What you have to submit an application to variances for the zoning to be able to do like retail because it's industrial area.
Yes.
Like a lots of details you need to be aware of.
Good. I wanted to clarify it in front of people that you need to consult the professionals.
This is number one. This is number one.
Do you have to, look, spend some money and time on talking to the professionals before you start deep and dig in the mud.
Invest. This is investment. Invest in professionals.
Yes.
Because in the end, you don't wanna like try and lose. Try and lose. Like it's not.
You will
for
lose money and you will back home if you can.
Yeah, in our back home in our
Culture.
Middle East culture, it's you can do everything. You can do and you like to cut corners.
Yes.
Cut corner is very expensive. If you wanna try to cut corner,
It doesn't work always.
it's very expensive.
Okay, Mr. George Abraham, I know that you have a commitment. Thank you very, very much for giving us the time.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, our audience, our people who are watching this episode, thank you very much for being with us today. And I hope you have been informed or learned something useful for you before you start the business. Mr. George Abraham was with us today from Sutton.
Group.
Yes, and the details was announced. You can go back to the contact number, email, everything if you want to contact him. Thank you very much. Thank you.